here, and I think on this occasion it's even more pleasurable.
That's
so
right.
thank you for having me this morning.
Right. So the theme this year is actually inspire inclusion, and it's talking about supporting women
Yes.
in the workplace in different industries. So what is this theme? How do you internalize and express this theme? What does it mean to you?
Well, I think the first thing that came to mind is about what makes the woman, the professional woman does not just come out of thin air. You're birthed from a range of experiences that kind of prepares you along the way. And for me, I've had maybe so many, but the one that comes to mind is the powerful, strong women who have impacted my life at a very early age. And I think the timing of the impact is what made the difference. So for me, it started pretty early, outside, of the work that my mother did, because I think some things are just genes.
Right. Right.
So I come from a heritage of strong women, many of whom, ended up being single parents, either through the passing of their spouse or other life circumstances. And so that for me was genetic. But apart from that, I want to celebrate many women who have been in my life along the journey. So when we talk about investing in women, being part of making them and molding them into who they are, it takes a little bit more than just talk. So I want to celebrate maybe and call out one of the first women, Chenny Beard. And I don't know if many persons would remember, she used to work at Republic Bank, customer service manager. Chenny was a big part of my life. We did everything outside the home together. I want to also shout out Lenora Luke. Lenora Luke was a leader in the Tobago House of Assembly, in charge of the secretariat, I think, when I met her. And when I say they were a part of my life, it meant that, after school, I would go on their jobs and they show me the ropes. So that's where the early learning. So I learned a lot of my secretarial skills from Miss Lenora Luke.
Right.
I learned some of my customer service and the politeness. In fact, Chenny Beard took me to have my first Color Me Beautiful facial. So I learned very early that I must not wear white clothes to my face because it doesn't do me well. And I learned from Chenny that I could wear any crazy color and it looks good on me. So I learned how to put my colors together, what to wear, because I had a nice little sachet that I kept with me for many, many years until I lost it in moving around. But those were the things I took from them. And then when I got into school, I had some powerful teachers that impacted me as well. I want to shout out Miss Solomon. Many people know Miss Solomon now. Right. So Miss Solomon, I was part of a youth group that she founded. She always would tell people I was the first secretary who served in Youth of Tobago. And then I was embellished within the movement. I think the first person who got me introduced into the women's kind of movement would have been Angelita Becker.
Right.
So I worked along with family planning, went tailing along Angelita, every lecture she went to, things that we did together. And through my interactions with Angelita, I got into the women's movement kind of bit. So Hazel Brown, which a lot of persons know, impacted me. And I was able at some time to go off on an exchange, a women's exchange program. And I remember Frederica Dare. Persons in Trinidad may remember Freddie. But the things that I took away from that is that there were always along the path women who were able to encourage, that you were able to learn the experiences from, because like you said, it's not easy. And for many women who leave the boundaries of home as we know it and go into the world of work, you have to have a plan. You have to have some substance.
That's right.
To be able to help you to stay the course.
That's right. Yeah. And you spoke about so many different women, and you spoke also about, some of the women in your life having to end up taking up roles, double roles, because they ended up being single parents.
Yes.
And there are so many challenges that women have to face space holistically. You have to be strong at home for your children. If you have a husband, you have to be strong for your husband. You have to be a support for your husband. In the workplace, you're expected to produce work. You have a circle of friends, and so you're supposed to be a good friend to your friends.
Yes.
You're supposed to be a mentor. So you're supposed to pour into the lives of the younger ones who are coming up. Maybe you might be of some religious background, and you have to have some sort of, so you have to be a pillar for so many people. And there are so many demands that come at you that you just have to. You can't decide, I'm taking a sick day today because somebody gonna say, well, mommy, or mistake us, or we need this to be signed off, or we need your input on this, or we need this, or we need that, or we need the other. How do we become that superwoman for our own selves? Because we give that to everybody. And we need to be that. For how do we do that as women and stand the test of time to become as great as some of these women have become?
I think for me it was two things. Apart from the examples that I had, my own connection and my spiritual journey would have helped me along that way. So in my early years, I recall getting baptized at the age of 13, and I was the only member of my family at the time who took that step. And for me, that meant that it gave me a connectedness with God that took me through the tough times. It helped me to understand myself. And at that early age, I was making that decision, irregardless of who said otherwise. And that for me was the beginning of my journey. For a woman, for you to stand the truth, stand the challenges now, you have to be grounded. You have to be grounded in something. You have to know what your values are and take the time to think those through. I recall that my father, I didn't grow up with my father. In fact, it's one of the things I thank my mother for, because my father was very abusive. So my mother left the situation. And I think that saved my life. But what it taught me is that I can make a tough decision. And I can survive the tough times, because we did as a family. And so when you take the time off to think, and I want to say that to the young people, don't be too busy about all the time. Take some time to spend with yourself. Define what your values are. What are your goals? Not what people tell you to do. Understand what happened to you in your own journey and your own experience. And therein you will find many of the answers. So you're not going to be tossed to and fro, when life situations impact you.
That's right. And how do we implement these things in the workspace? Because I know you are the director. And this is a top position. A position, when you hear positions like directors and CEOs, traditionally, you are thinking that somebody wearing trousers should have these positions, like a man should hold these positions. But now the workspace is opening up and women are stepping up. And I know that you have to fight even harder to prove yourself, because traditionally, as I said, the man is the head. He is the head.
Yes.
He is the head. But these spaces are now opening up and women are finding their places there. How was it for you in terms of your journey to get to where you are in your career?
Well, in terms of my own personal journey, I think it was much like most others. Yes, today it's about qualifying yourself. But apart from that, it's how you hone your skills and not being afraid to speak up and to assert yourself wherever you are. And when you spend your time, so it doesn't start there, it starts way before, and don't worry about it. It's the simplest skills that get you there, the things that we learn early: good manners, speak up, be clear, be respectful, women must be seen and not heard. And for women in the workplace, especially at these levels, you have to be seen. Yes, you have to assert your authority. You have to be clear in your instructions and your direction and not be afraid to take your place. But I think, things have changed up a bit. So for women in the workplace, especially at leadership levels, it's now a very popular thing in the Tobago space. So the challenges come sometimes from the men who are displaced from you being in those positions, who now use other things to try to distract you, from what is naturally yours. So I'm saying that women in Tobago are no longer in the struggle or should be afraid to accept or step into leadership roles, because there's a lot of company up there. So many have charted the way before. So it's comfortable, but you will have to maintain. And so what maintains you there is your competence. And so you must seek to be competent. Women don't get there because you have friends. That's a male thing, I'm afraid to say that. That was the man's world, You get there, you had the men's club, and because you do things together, you get the position. But when you see women in positions, it's because of their competence.
That's right. That's right. Because the fight really is harder for women. But I like what you said when you spoke about your foundation. We were kind of leaning towards your foundation. It's what you learned before. You didn't wake up this morning as a director, did you?
No, definitely not.
So there's a journey to get there.
Yes.
So it's your mentors, your life experiences, your life decisions, your investment in yourself in terms of getting your skills sharpened and to where it needs to be, to having a voice and using your voice effectively to get to where you are, to overcome the people who want to push you out of what is rightfully yours. So you see, it is a journey, and especially I'm joining with you and speaking here to the young people. Yes. There is room for all of us, but there is a journey to get there. We can't have things microwave. I know young people, they like the microwave, quick, and in a hurry, but that's not how it works. You have to chart your course.
And take your time.
Take your time.
There are some who come up, because right now it's very easy to get qualified in almost any field. You understand me? Some people go, they get their degree, some people fast track it, and some people just jump from, high school, you do your first degree, you do your second degree, next thing you have a PhD, shoo, and you feel that you're ready. Hey, wake up. That's the things that really get you ready to take your place and to be able to fulfill that is a life experience.
It's experience. And I had that same conversation when I went to university. One of my colleagues, she came straight from secondary school into the university, and she was literally a child and could not find her way. So you really need to have those experiences. Take your time and get there. There is time. Just plan it out.
Yes.
Map it out. Yes. Take your time. Get all the mentorship and all the advice from the persons who you look up to. You must find a mentor. You cannot do it on your own. While it is on the inside of you, you need somebody to help to bring it out.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been speaking with Miss Anne-Marie de Gazon, and she is the director, the Youth Development Director in the Division of Community Development, Youth Development and Sport, as we speak about women's issues and climbing the corporate ladder. We're going to take a short break before we continue conversations in studio with our guest. And of course, before we go, we want to say a good morning to all our women out there. And we want to invite you to share the live, share the live, share the live. Stay with us.
Scrub Ties brings to you our organic fat dissolving shots. Yes, guys, our lemon butter shot breaks down stubborn fat, tightens any loose skin while increasing your metabolism. No side effects, no downtime. We also offer cavitation, cellulite treatment, butt, breast, hip dip fillers, weight loss, fertility IVs, and much more. Contact us on 495-6624 or follow us on Instagram at Scrub Ties Body Contouring.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show on Tobago Updates Television. I am Adana Kumbi, and we'd like to share some information with you as we try to help a mother find her missing son. His name is Kyle Potts, and he's 29 years of age, and he was missing since the 9th of February 2024. Hunter's Search and Research and Rescue Team are also looking for him, but we just want to put this out here in the public domain for any assistance that can be provided in finding this young man. His mother is, distraught and, of course, looking for her son. I believe that he has some sort of mental issues as reported by his mother. So any assistance in finding him is greatly appreciated. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we continue conversations this morning. As you know, it is International Women's Week, and the theme for this year is Inspire Inclusion as we invest in women. And we have none other than Ms. Kathleen Sterling. She's the Acting Inspector of TTPS, Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. And we're going to get our usual crime updates, our weekly crime update from the TTPS. And we're also going to speak a little bit about, of course, International Women's Day and the things surrounding that where they are concerned. Good morning and welcome.
Hi, good morning, Adana, and good morning to our listening viewers.
Right. So I know it's International Women's Day, but before we get into that, we just want to get our usual crime update. What has been happening around Tobago for the past week? I know we had a report of a fatal shooting and other incidents happening in Tobago. Can we get some updates on that?
So as we know, we had a report of a murder this week in the eastern island of the division. The police investigators, we are investigating that crime, pursuing all leads, and we are asking members of the public, if you know something, if you hear something, you can communicate with the police anonymously. You could call 800 tips and let us know. We cannot do it alone. We need the help of the whole of Tobago, who are our stakeholders. Added to that, we have a report of a shooting yesterday, missing person into a shooting. We are still investigating that report. Other than that, we had a quiet week in relation to violent crimes and serious crimes in the Tobago district.
Okay, thank you for that. And I know you wanted to talk a little bit about, we still have the issue with talking about school violence, because we still want to ensure that we share that information to all our stakeholders who are involved, our teaching stakeholders, our educators, our students, our parents, and all our community groups. What is your insight on that for us this morning?
Well, Adana, as you see, we had an explosion of violence in our schools today, youth violence. So, there are reasons why we have these violence taking place, and there are ways that we could prevent these violence. So, we have causes could be mental issues. A lot of us are not looking at that area. Parents, we know our children, and we know if they have mental issues, we need to talk. We cannot do it alone. We could partner with the school, the mental health department, and everybody come together to deal with the issues. We have drugs, we see a lot of our children are involved in drugs, and parents need to talk to their children let them know the consequences of drugs. A lot of bullying is taking place in schools. We need to have that intimate conversation with our children, with our teachers. We need to go to the school, find out, get involved in our children's life, know our teachers. We have to come together. It has to be a collaborative effort to stem the school violence that is taking place in our schools.
Yes, it really is a collaborative effort, a community effort. And, as you always say, if you see something and you know something, say something and provide some measure of support to not just the children, but the families as well, because there are some families who are, they have some sort of a trouble in the area, maybe in the home or whatever. So I endorse that, and I'm with you there, as we have to come together to make Tobago a safe space again. So we're talking about International Women's Day 2024 this year, and the theme is inclusion, inspire inclusion, especially in the workplace where we invest in women. You're in an industry that is predominantly, the top positions are held by men, and you're an inspector. Tell us a little bit about how was it for you in terms of charting your course through your career to get to where you are today?
Well, Adana, first of all, we say we predominantly male environment, but we see our Commissioner of Police today as a female. So we see we are breaking the glass ceiling and we are getting to the top. So as an inspector, I started as a constable through the ranks. I work hard. I was focused, and I had goals, right? And I pursued those goals by working hard. I'm saying it wasn't all easy at times, but you have to know your purpose and what you want. And as females, we see, especially in the Tobago division, we are leading the way, because I can tell you the top 5 inspector position in Tobago are run by female officers. So we have a female officer at Roxborough, the inspector in charge, CID, a female officer, Crown Point Police Station, a female inspector, Sherburne Police Station. So the 5 stations in Tobago are run by female inspectors. So we see that we are reaching, we are getting there, and we are breaking ceilings. And as we work in tandem with our male officers, because we cannot leave them out.
That's
we
right.
work together to get the work done.
That's right. It's a team effort, and of course, they're making the point that anything is possible, even in an environment, a traditional environment that is for men, or any other thing. Actually, you can do it once you put your mind to it. You mentioned earlier that you had goals and you remained focused. I want to put that out there again for the young people. Have your goals and remain focused, and then you can achieve anything. So what is the TTPS Tobago Division doing to commemorate International Women's Day?
Okay, so we have a 2-day event starting from the 7th of March. That's where we have a women's symposium, TTPS Leading Women, Leading Change. It's a collaborative effort with all the armed forces in the Ministry of National Security. So that symposium include the fire service, the security services, and the TTPS coming together with that symposium. We'll have a lot of inspirational leaders giving us courses, inclusive in academia, public service, broadcasting. That is giving us a haven, a safe space that we could chart our course. We have a lot of stress dealing with the TTPS, so we have that area to digress and to help us define ourselves, so that we could pilot the course of leading women in the TTPS and the armed forces in Tobago.
Also,
right?
so that,
On the second day, normally we showcase ourselves to marching through the streets of Scarborough, but this year will be a difference. We go into Canaan, where we starting at 8 a.m. We have all the armed forces. We'll be marching from Best Buy supermarket to 4 roads, that's Gaspin Bay Road. And after that, we'll be having a church service at the Calvary Deliverance Tabernacle from until about midday. After that, we have kick our shoes down and we at Barcode where we'll be socializing and having fun to end the day's activities. So that's that's the plan for our event for International Women's Day.
Of course, I like the part where you say kick off your shoes and have some fun, because at the end of the day, the job is stressful. So sometimes you need to de-stress a little bit,
Yes, within the TTPS, we really need to de-stress because of the challenges that we have to deal on a day-to-day basis.
Okay, thank you so much for bringing that kind of update and insight and talking about the things relative to International Women's Day. And congratulations to the TTPS for seeing the need to have these sessions to build your morale and, of course, to support you in your journey as you try to keep Trinidad and Tobago, but in this scenario, Tobago, a safe space. So congratulations. I do wish you the very best, all the success for those 2 days, and I do hope you get to kick off your boots and to enjoy a few moments there as you relax, to recharge, to get back into that position of inspector, and all the officers who are going to participate as well to remain focused on their duties. Thank you so much. We've been speaking with Caitlin Sterling, and she's the acting inspector of the TTPS, bringing the crime update there for Tobago and also speaking on what is happening with the TTPS for International Women's Day 2024. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, we have more guests in studio, and of course, we want you to stay with us, and I want to say a good morning to all the others who are now on the line. I see Yolan Daniel there. Good morning. Elsa Cruikshank, good morning. Ayana Walters, good morning to you guys. Waveney Dylan Roberts, good morning, good morning, good morning. Sandra Joseph, good morning to you, and happy International Women's Day week from all of us here at Tobago Updates Television. We are going to go for a short break before we continue conversations with our guests in studio. And before we go, of course, we invite you to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be back.
Hey, hello guys, welcome. Come have a seat. Oh, this is so stylish and I love the fabric. Darlings, you must tell us where you got your new furnishings.
We got them locally at Standard. They've got new chic European furniture, crafted from high quality material.
Oh, Standard?
No, it's Standard, their brand new Hive collection.
Experience luxurious European furniture at a price you will love. The Hive Collection. Now exclusively available at Standard.
Hello everyone, it's your boy Harry here from Authentic Car Clinic, located right here in Tobago at Storebay Local Road. You can WhatsApp us or call us at 366-4173.
Scrub Ties brings to you our organic fat dissolving shots. Yes, guys, our lemon butter shot breaks down stubborn fat, tightens any loose skin while increasing your metabolism. No side effects, no downtime. We also offer cavitation, cellulite treatment, butt, breast, hip dip fillers, weight loss, fertility IVs, and much more. Contact us on 495-6624 or follow us on Instagram at Scrub Ties Body Contouring.
Your destiny. The best way to predict it is to create it. Do you see yourself exploring exotic destinations or spending quality time with family? However you see yourself, create your own retirement destiny with Tata Life's Destiny Personal Savings Booster. Choose from one of 3 investment options with guaranteed minimum investment returns to secure a monthly retirement income for life, with the option to choose your retirement age. So what's your retirement destiny? Call 62-TATIL or visit tatil.co.tt to learn more today. Conditions apply. Tatil Life, a member of the Answer McCall Group.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
And we are back here on Tobago Updates this morning. It is a little bit too late. It is 7:46 in the morning. And we continue our program with Miss Giselle Drew, owner of Tobago Wick. She is here, all smiles, of course, because she's here. She has some exciting information to share with us in light of International Women's Day, in light of her pushing forward her business as an entrepreneur, starting just recently, but reaching this far. Yes? Good morning to you, Miss Drew, and to our audience that is onlooking right now.
Good morning, Natalia, and by extension, Tobago, Trinidad, and the rest of the world.
Good
How
morning, Miss Tobago Wick.
I like that.
So, of course, you know, it's international, well, the lead up to International Women's Day. It is, you could basically say International Women's Week. We'll take the week, thank you.
I think we'll take the month.
We'll take the month? You want the month?
Yeah.
We need to stick with what they give us at home.
Nah. Women don't listen. We don't listen. We don't follow rules. We just...
Sometimes. We do, you know, sometimes. But in light of the follow-up to International Women's Day, let's stick with that because they gave us the day.
Okay.
Yeah. You have, of course, your budding business. Yes, and that is what we are here to speak about today. Of course, we are here to speak about both product and services, and you'll tell us a little bit about that later on in the interview. So, in light of International Women's Day, what is Tobago Wick offering us?
Okay, so I'm a woman, as you can see, and what we are offering for this entire week is 10% off all Tobago Wick products. So that is diffusers, candles, incense, sage sticks, any Tobago Wick product. You can get 10% off at the store. The store is located in Mount Pleasant, and that's in the Le Chateau building.
And of course, you have other branches in Tobago besides the Mount Pleasant branch?
Yes, actually, I have a branch also in Canby at Dominion Appliances, so you can also get 10% off there as well.
We oftentimes see Tobago Wick in Portmore. Are we still there?
Yes, we actually, well, we are sporadic. We're all over the place. So we actually have a lot of persons that would buy stock from us and resell in their locations.
So the Tobago Wick that we see on the Port Mall is, of course, your products?
Yes, it is.
Of course. Okay. Right. So tell us a little bit about the products and the services that you do offer. I know you want to focus a lot on the services because you have something very exciting for us in store. But tell us a little bit about the products that you currently make, the ones that you started off with. What have you improved on in your works that has gotten you here today in your business?
Okay, so as a lot of persons would know, Tobago Wick was, I have to say, was a COVID baby, but we are far past that now, and we have expanded. So we have a product side, and now we have a service side. So on the service side, we basically currently offer sessions where persons can celebrate their birthdays, anniversaries, anything, even just a date night. You can do. The sessions are approximately about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Usually the larger groups have such a great time that we just usually give them the night. So sometimes I am packing up 1, 2 in the morning, and it's because people have had a great time. So we are now looking to expand on the services by offering classes, because a number of persons would have been saying, okay, we enjoy the session, that's one-off, that's fun, but what else can you offer? What else can we do? Can we do, a more in-depth session? So we at Tobago Wick basically took some time to, engage and look at what we could offer. And we are proud to announce that we are going to be offering classes beginning in April.
So you mentioned that there are date nights that people would come and make candles with, right?
Yes.
Are these couples invited to the classes?
Yes.
They are.
Yes, by any means, sure, if they're interested. So the classes are from age 16 and up. So there's no cap on that, a very wide range. So yeah, all the date night persons, all the married persons, the
senior folks, anybody willing to come and learn how to make candles.
For sure.
Right. Okay, so what time would your sessions be, and what days would be the sessions?
Okay, so now with the sessions, we have a booking app that is always available to you. So the links are in all the bios across all the social media handles. Even if you WhatsApp me, you'll be able to get the link. And once you go on the app, it'll give you a calendar, and you can choose the days you want to do these sessions. Now for the classes, that's going to be set up a little bit differently. So for the classes, it's going to be on Thursdays. We're going to have it on Thursdays. It's going to run for 5 weeks, and it's going to be from 6 to 8. So that's going to give persons to get home, have a shower after work, grab a bite to eat, and make it back out to class.
So if I decide, okay, let's say I have work after 6 in the afternoon, and your class runs until 8. Am I allowed to duck in and duck out?
Well, I am not going to advise that you duck the people's work.
Right.
However, these classes are multifaceted. It's going to give some persons an opportunity to delve into business for themselves. For some persons, it's going to be a hobby. And for some persons, it's primarily just going to be fun and a good time.
Okay. Would materials be provided to us in the classes, or do I have to go online and order in my international week for this class?
No, so the cost of the class includes your kit, your apron, and everything that you will need, not just for the class, but also for you to continue, if you so please, at home. And basically, we're going to go through everything. So every week we'll touch on something different, the different wax types, the different wick types, coloring, scent pairing, and you will actually get the materials to work on your own, as well as to work if you'd like to continue.
So these are scents included and stuff like that?
Well, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
Scents, colors, everything will be provided for you. Everything is within the package. The only thing I will say is for some of the classes, if extra material is needed, we do have a local person that we'll be using to source materials from them.
Okay, so if I want to come to your class and make a pink jasmine scent candle, I can come and learn to make that?
Sure, if that's what we're doing on that day, yeah.
Okay. Would an outline of the classes be available to those?
Yes.
attending?
So we'll have an outline of the classes. Sorry, I should say we have an outline of the classes, and also we have a solid copy of everything we'll be going through for you to have even before the classes, after, to go through at any point in time. That's yours to keep.
All right. So I know this information is available on the flyer, but I want to hear it from you. Our audience would like to hear it from you as well.
So
where do I register? Who do I speak to? What do I walk with? How do I get prepared for these classes?
Okay, so you don't need to walk with anything. You can register on location. As I said again, upstairs Rashad's men's store. That's Mount Pleasant, the Chateau building. We are open from Monday to Wednesday, that's 10 to 6. Thursdays we're not open. Fridays 10 to 6, Saturdays 10 to 6 as well.
Okay.
Or you can send me a WhatsApp, that's 868-290-1122, very easy to remember, and I can give you the directions as to how to register.
So, okay, so for those of you who weren't able to get this number, as
Did I say it fast?
No, you didn't. You said it well. But for those of you who might want to go and look for the information afterwards, it will be available on the Tobago Updates Facebook page and social media outlets. Right, so one last question to you as we wrap up. Should I say two last questions? Sure. What is your advice to entrepreneurs who would like to get into this business? You mentioned that you would be giving kits to people who would like to continue on even after the classes. So what advice do you give to these starter-uppers?
Okay, so what I would say is go for it. You know, sometimes we look at classes from a perspective of, oh gosh, you know, the cost is high. But we're not looking at the cost now. You're looking at the income that this could possibly yield for you later on down the road.
And do you mind mentioning the cost of the class?
No, I don't. It's actually $2,200.
Okay.
$1,100 is the down payment, and the other, for the balance of the payment, it could be paid in 2 parts.
And I think coming with my hands swinging and having everything provided for me, I think that's a good cost. All right. So you were saying about the
yes, so I was saying that, you know, persons need to look at it in terms of this could be a way of income. If you look at the Tobago landscape, it's very small. However, there aren't many persons that are doing what I'm doing, and there aren't many suppliers either. So this is something that persons can think about, you know. You don't have to stay in Tobago even. You can go to Trinidad, you can go up the Caricom, you can go anywhere you want, but you would have gained a skill that you can monetize. And I think that's the way young persons should look at it. And I would even say for older persons or middle-aged persons, it's good to have a hobby. It's good to have something that you're doing, something that's hands-on, something that's fun, something that's therapeutic, because I didn't mention that. It's very therapeutic. To pass the time.
And I know that it's, well, we keep saying it, that it's International Women's Day coming up, right? And I think it's a good time to mention this because you mentioned that it was a COVID baby. I imagine that it was a source of income for you during the COVID period, right? So for young mothers and young women, I should say, in general, what is your advice to them in terms of entrepreneurship on a whole?
So my advice to them is really and truly to get into it. We know that, because it's been said time and time before, everybody cannot work for the government. Everybody should not aspire to work for the government. And the reason why I say that is, for any country, the better the private sector is doing, is the better the country will do, because then the money is circulating, everybody's happy, you could buy a bread, I could buy a bread, you know, and it creates a better, you know, a level playing field. So I think for young persons, for women especially, you know, don't make the mistake of thinking, I'm in a relationship, I'm married, you know, I'm safe. There's no safe.
Right.
You know, you can find safety in what you do, how you provide for yourself, you know, and that's something that no one can take from you, you know. So developing a skill and really honing in on that skill and monetizing, it doesn't get any better than that. Now you could put yourself in a position where you create your hours, you on your time, and you know, it's hard work. I wouldn't say that it isn't, but it creates a better opportunity for you to place yourself better in life.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Giselle Drew, owner of Tobago Wick and a woman in business. Right, thank you for being with us here on Tobago Updates this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Viewers, we continue on with Tobago Notes and, of course, part of your favorite morning program, Good Morning Tobago with Miss Candice Jackson. So those of you still with us and those of you now joining, we ask you to share the live, share the live, share the live.
22:6 says, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." This biblical quote sums it up nicely what the 4-H Club is all about. It's all about children building life skills by leading in hands-on projects, which help them grow in confidence, independence, resilience, and compassion. Over 300 Tobago students were inducted as 4-H members recently. The students beamed with pride as they get ready to put their 4-H's into action as they navigate through life.
We gather here today under the theme to make the best better, which encapsulates the essence of what this remarkable organization represents. To the soon-to-be inducted members, let me extend my heartfelt congratulations to each and every one of you. Your hard work, dedication, and unwavering commitment have earned you a place among the ranks of the esteemed 4-H Club. Today, we celebrate your achievements and recognize the potential that lies within each of you to make a profound difference in our society.
It always warms my heart to look at the sea of white and green at our 4-H induction. You are becoming official 4-H members, and I encourage you, our future students, our present, you, our future, our hope, to continue to use the 4-H's, your head, your heart, your hands, and your health, as we strive to always make the best better.
The induction ceremony was held at the Shore Park complex.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
Tobago on Tobago Updates, your source for current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad, and the region. With a perfect conversation to complement your morning routine, I am Candace Jackson, and let's get started with the news in 90 seconds. Tobago recorded its 5th murder of the year on Saturday. The deceased is Jafari Fraser, 23, of Glamorgan, Tobago. Around 4 a.m., the vehicle Fraser was driving crashed near Pembroke Bay Road Bridge, where villagers discovered his body with gunshot wounds. Fraser was pronounced dead at the scene and was taken to the Scarborough General Hospital's mortuary pending a post-mortem. Police are probing the motive behind the fatal shooting of Fraser, with detectives from Tobago Homicide Bureau leading the investigations. Up next, the tugboat responsible for the Gulf Stream oil spill was owned by a director linked to Panamanian companies with a track record of transporting oil from Venezuela. Documents validated by Zanzibar Maritime Authority discovered by Bellingcat and the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian revealed this connection. Open sources included port and legal records raised concerns about the condition of the now capsized barge transporting fuel, as court records noted it had water leaks and required pumping services before its ill-fated voyage. Bellingcat previously identified the barge, tracing its final journey via satellite imagery, revealing oil leakage days before it was wrecked. Despite the Trinidad and Tobago Ministry of National Security stating the tug and barge were bound for Guyana, recent reports dispute this claim, and documents show activity by the associated entities after the spill, including the change in the tugboat's ownership. Despite all this, no one is yet to claim responsibility for the oil spill. And meanwhile, opposition MP Ruda Mudilal expressed concern about the government's failure to disclose information to the public about the vessel's owners, origin, and potential connections to PDVSA. He stated this lack of clarity leaves the public with unanswered questions amid the Ministry of National Security's ongoing investigations. And that was the news in 90 seconds. And viewers, of course, you know that for this whole week, we at Tobago Updates are focusing both the morning show and GMT on International Women's Day, which is on March 8th, a little later on this week. But the whole week, we are going to be focusing on women. And we know that women can be in literally every sphere or every sector of our society. And one of those sectors is the farming community. And I mean, just to talk a little bit about, you know, just what our women here in Tobago has been accomplishing when it comes to farming and that sort of thing. I am being joined by the Secretary of Natural Resources, of Food Security, Natural Resources, the Environment and Sustainable Development, Mr. Tisha Charles Panting. Good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning, Candice. Good morning, Tobago.
And of course, happy Women's Day in advance.
Same to you.
All right, so just, you know, give us an idea of how big is the female farming community in Tobago?
Okay, so let me first say that we have several stakeholders under the division.
Mm-hmm.
So we have, and I have to be very careful when, you know, I'm giving the terminology. So we have fisher folk, which would be inclusive of women, right? We have farmers, and the majority of women will fall under agro-processing. Yeah, we have a few landowners who would engage in forestry as well and forestry-related activities. So we have many stakeholders under the division that we wish to embrace. Mm-hmm. And you'll find that the majority of women, as I said before, fall under agro-processing. But we want to recognize all the women across all, as you said earlier, spheres, right? And, you know, focus on women empowerment, women and girls, yeah, for International Women's Day.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, when we think about, you know, the women, when it comes to the way how we work hard, no matter what, we face many challenges and so on. You know, what's been your interaction with them in trying to improve and put a bit more food security where that is concerned, and just get them more involved?
Well, over the years, I have interacted with many women, you know, across the sector. And being in the division for 18 years, you have no choice. You have to embrace all the stakeholders at some point in time. And this year, we decided to commemorate International Women's Day with a launch, first of all, to launch a program that we're going to have under the division. Mm-hmm. We're going to focus on enhancing food security. We're going to focus on women empowerment. And of course, we're going to roll out programs to, you know, further their business. Because the theme, since I got into office, I would have said that agriculture is a science and a business.
Yes.
And I'm going to hold fast to that so that we ensure that we develop this sector. So that is what we're going to focus on. We're going to start it with a launch, and then we're going to roll out several programs under the newly formed Tobago Agriculture Research Institute, where we can train and provide funding assistance to entrepreneurs.
Okay. When it comes to, you know, just even women being in agro-processing and farming and so on, is there anything unique about their involvement?
Agriculture on a whole is unique. Now, when you think agriculture and you think science, it's towards improving food safety. You think about quality assurance and all these things. You think, you know, everything along the value chain. You have to be precise. As I keep saying, you cannot fake it in agriculture. And last week, Friday, we launched the initiative with a food scientist in the division, Melissa Abeko.
Yes.
And she spoke about her history, being with her mom, looking at how her mom would have added value to, you know, simple fruits. And that is what inspired her as a woman to get into food sciences, yeah? So we are going to continue displaying different, you know, officers under the division who continue to develop the sector, assist us in many ways, so that the people of Tobago understand what we're trying to do in the division. Yeah. Now, agriculture is usually seen as punishment over the years. You know, you can't study a book or go outside and see if you could plant something. But that isn't so. It's a proper science. Yeah, I've heard people said, okay, let's take, for example, cassava, simple as cassava. Sometimes you'll buy cassava MX variety, and some people will tell you, okay, I boiled the cassava and it hard, but if you know MX, if you know the science of MX, as soon as you dip it in boiling water, it gets soft. So you have to understand that agriculture is a science first. And then once you improve on quality and all of that, then you're able to turn it into a business. Because you, as the producer or as the businessman, you have to ensure that you sell something of quality. Yeah? So it isn't as straightforward as we think. Agriculture isn't that straightforward. And that is why we're trying our very best to target each and every stakeholder to bring them up to, you know, compliance. Yes, let's use compliance. Yeah? And that would take some funding, and we're committed to doing that. Yeah.
And does this also include the fishing community? Because we know that there's actually quite a lot of our women that are involved in fishing, whether it's actually going out on the boats themselves or selling them.
Oh, definitely. We have a lot of women involved in fishing, as well as creating value-added products. And with our launch coming on March 8th, we're going to have someone from the Inter-American Institute for you know, cooperation and agriculture, and she will, you know, her background is in food science and quality assurance, right? Dr. Lisa Hananan, right? She would be the feature speaker, and of course her background is, you know, networking for grant funding and all of that. Now, I wish my division had all the money in the world to fund this, because I mean, we can't rely only on tourism, yeah? So we must think about food. As a matter of fact, across the entire region, you're seeing that now people are focusing on food security, yeah? So, and I mean, that's one of these sustainable development goals. Sustainable development goals are number 2 and 5. We're focusing on food security. You're focusing on women empowerment, gender equality, inclusion, you know? So we're looking at the rural communities across Tobago, embracing all the stakeholders. Once you're a stakeholder under the division, you will be embraced. And of course, we're going to roll out different programs to train you to become an entrepreneur and, of course, improve the quality of lives here in Tobago.
And where agriculture is concerned, how far are we along in achieving that sustainable development goal of, you know, having that gender equality and so on?
Well, this initiative is first of its kind, right? Of the 18 years I've been in the division. So I can tell you we have started, and that's a good thing, because, you know, we can't sit by and just wait on the sector, you know, to develop themselves. People need to understand understand the direction that the division is heading. And I think that once we hold their hands and we engage the correct stakeholders, in the sector, then we can work together, towards improvement. Agriculture is not a one-off thing where I just come and give you a grant and that's it, right? What it is about forming partnerships. We have to network. We have to ensure that we sell Tobago in the best way that we can. Yeah, so that is what we're trying to do with this new initiative. We call it Women in Agriculture and Natural Resources. Yeah.
And how can women access this?
Okay, so we have been looking at. Well, when we did an assessment of the entire division and the number of women that we have, it was so many that, we are thinking if we had to have a launch, it would be millions of dollars. Yeah. And then when you think about all the stakeholders, so what we did, we tried to identify key persons across the sector, even within the division. And we sent out invitations so that we bring everybody into this space for the launch. And then after that, you will see several initiatives rolling out, yeah? So that it can reach to all, all the stakeholders within the communities. Yeah?
So it's basically an incremental thing.
Correct. It is an incremental thing.
And is there any sort of qualifications? Is it open to everyone?
This initiative is open to every woman and every young girl. Not only people in the sector, but people that are aspiring to get into the sector. Yes, so it's open to everyone.
All right. And then, so the launch you said is on the 8th?
Yes, on the 8th at the Magdalena Grand Hotel, right? I wish that I could invite the entire, right? But, we are limited by, we can constrain my funds. But once we bring everybody that are truly interested onto the project, then we can, because we have deliverables. We want to ensure that when we get people signed on, that we're going to measure progress along the way. So we're not going to just think about it as you get a grant. And as a matter of fact, we would have met with the stakeholders on the agro-processing, right? When I said we, myself and stakeholders, we would have, sat down some of the technical officers to develop different, funding opportunities. And of course, I'm still waiting on certain things from the technical officers, right? Because it's a conversation, as I said. We don't have all the funding under the division, as everyone would know, right? But whatever we get, we try to work with it along with international funding. So that's the idea.
And how much funding are we talking about for this?
Well, I envision that, it's $1 million sector, yeah? Right? We're talking about not only funding personal grants to individuals, but also we have to, there's a Louis d'Or processing facility that once operated in this space, in the sector, that was shut down. So we have to bring that up so that agro-processors can access there. And there's several other spaces that we have to, refurbish, let's put it like that, in order to accommodate stakeholders. For example, the Barbados Bay Fish Facility, recently you saw that it was launched, yeah? And it was converted into a space that the fishermen, they like the frontline vending, yeah? So we had to reconfigure that entire building to fit their needs. And that's the idea. We have to work with the stakeholders so that we don't build buildings and then they sit there, forever and not being utilized. Yes, so we are really working hard, and I want to applaud the efforts of every technical officer that have signed on to the agenda, of the competent and the willing. The Chief Secretary made an excellent call at the beginning, and of course we had a lot of people within the division, outside, volunteers, and we have all come together to sign on that project. Because I'll tell you something, I've been in politics outside of this type of politics. I've been in the other
background.
Right, in the background with other, right, for years. And I'll tell you something, I actually gave up on Tobago at one point in time in terms of politics. And I said that, I wonder if we're getting anywhere with politics. And, strange enough, no, I'm a politician. So I don't know if it is God just making, God is saying to you, look, you have this sort of expectation. So now you're a politician, get to work, So that is what we have been doing. Yeah, working. Yeah.
All right. And so now for those people that are joining part of that program, how much in grants can they access?
All right. So the ministry has $100,000 grant, right? And all the farmers, fisher folk, anyone basically under the division can access the grant. But I think the issue with this particular grant, why Tobagonians have not been receiving it, is capacity. So
wait, and I know that there are two things. So is this the one that's going to be launched on the 8th?
Actually, it's not this grant in particular that will be launched. There are several grants in this space under the ministry, international grants, ADB, there are different types of funding streams that can be accessed. And and that's what I said. I'm so happy that, God turned my view, upside down, because now I'm a politician. And it requires, a lot of work. So we had to do a lot of background research as to all the funding opportunities, not only nationally, but internationally. And we're going to bring that.
From the IDB standpoint, just to give us an idea of, what that funding is going to be like. And we'll talk about the ministry and so on in a little bit.
IDB, or I mean ADB?
ADB, sorry.
Oh, ADB, well, ADB usually would facilitate farmers and fisher folk. As a matter of fact, ADB would say that the fisher folk tend to access funding for the businesses more than farmers, yeah? But that would not be grant funding. That's more loan funding, right? But there are grant funding opportunities under the Ministry of Trade. You have this $100,000 grant under the Ministry of Agriculture, right? Different incentives. The division, I remember the chief, he made an attempt to lobby for the allocation to come to Tobago, so that the grants could be assessed in Tobago and given to the farmers. But the allocation remains in Trinidad, and therefore we could assist with capacity here so that we train people on how to access, make up the forms and how to comply with the rules. And the grant actually comes from Trinidad. So they send their technical officers to do the assessment, and then you get the grant. Okay. So we want to, I would hope that, we get the allocation, but we don't get it. So what we have to do is access the funding that is available in this space as well as internationally.
All right, great. I'm going to just have a pause right there, but viewers, when we come back, we'll be continuing this conversation, so don't go anywhere.
Rotisserie, mouth-watering fries, salads, combos, and specials galore. Feeling for something to eat? Come and see. Our rotisserie is seasoned to the T. Kicking chicken, masala, and jerk roast. Crispy fries made from scratch. Who do you know can beat that? Or salads freshly cut and packed. When you taste it, you'll be wanting to come back. So come check us out on number 2 Robinson Street, Uptown Scarborough, Tobago. We open on Saturday nights from 7:30 to 11:30 p.m. Monday to Thursday, we're open from 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. and on Friday, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Contact us at 772-7443 and all social media handles at The Rotisserie Factory.
Scrub Ties brings to you our organic fat dissolving shots. Yes, guys, our lemon butter shot breaks down stubborn fat, tightens any loose skin while increasing your metabolism. No side effects, no downtime. We also offer cavitation, cellulite treatment, butt, breast, hip dip fillers, weight loss, fertility IVs, and much more. Contact us on 495-6624 or follow us on Instagram at Scrub Ties Body Contouring.
Yo everyone, it's your boy Harry here from Authentic Builders General Hardware, located right here in Tobago, Local Road, Tobago. That's correct, right here in Tobago. And we are offering you guys the best prices on all hardware material. And if you would like to get your free quotation done, all you have to do is WhatsApp us at 272-1990 and we will give you guys the best prices on all hardware material. That is a guarantee, as we are matching or beating any quotations.
Hey, hello guys, welcome.
Yeah. Hey. Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Let's go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor, to wake up and hear my neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never.
Secretary of Food Security, Natural Resources, the Environment and Sustainable Development, as we talk about women in agriculture and so on. And of course, one of the things that a lot of people in, not just women, but in the farming industry complain about or struggle with is the access to funding. And there is some funding, there's actually quite a lot of funding available. And one in particular is through the Ministry of Agriculture. And to access that, the first step is through registering and letting the ministry know that you are an existing farmer. So, Mr. Tisha Charles Panton, give us an idea of this registry process that's going on through the ministry, and then we could talk about what doors that could open up for a lot of people here in Tobago, not just women, but farmers, agro-processors, fishermen in general.
Okay, so this $100,000 grant, it could be accessed by any stakeholder under the division.
Mhm.
But the challenge is a lot of persons don't fill out the form correctly. So they leave some parts of the form unanswered. And of course, it requires you to just say in a brief way what type of business you want to do or you're involved in, yeah? So if you want to buy a tractor, if you're into commercial farming, you should aim to always have things readily, at your fingertips. So if you want a tractor, for example, you need equipment, you need any sort of thing that would enhance your business, whether you're a farmer, an agro-processor, a fisher, part of the fisher folk community, you can access this grant, this $100,000 grant. So that would be part of the initiative that we're rolling out, building capacity on how to fill out some of these forms so that you can qualify to receive a grant, yeah? So the forms goes to Trinidad actually, and they are the ones that would decide whether or not you get it, right? But I would love that we get the allocation in Tobago, but we don't. So we would provide the assistance in filling out the form. If you're currently a farmer, of course, there are rebates. And there's a youth in agriculture program where you must show some evidence of training, right? And a lot of the projects that we are doing under the division, because we have a livestock farming project, you will be certified. You will receive a certificate. So every project we're aiming to do, every training, we're aiming to provide you with something to show that you would have done something along that line, yeah? So we're trying to improve the circumstances of all the stakeholders. So at the launch, what you're going to see a lot of international people on board on a part of the assignment. You're going to see people locally from Trinidad and Tobago that work within the ministries and the divisions, and they will be in one space for the launch.
Nice.
And then you'll have a display of some of what the agro-processors do at the launch, so that our international partners or international stakeholders or national stakeholders, they would have an opportunity to see what Tobagonians can do. Yeah, and then we work with them as we roll out different training sessions where we can have people certified and qualified in different things. So you don't have to come with any qualifications. We will work with you to bring you into becoming the best entrepreneur within your field. And that is what we should be aiming for. Becoming the best in whatever you can do. So if you're into preservatives, you will be the best person, right? So I don't want you to see your craft as something aligned with poverty or as a punishment. Your craft could go beyond the shores of Tobago. And I could tell you, as I tell people all the time, my breakfast is something local. I buy local food by the food hub. I live my life. I shower. I use natural soaps. Mira I could call your name, Nikki, Ostra Trotman. I purchase everything local because I want to live the life and not just tell people, support other people, and I'm not doing it myself. And I totally enjoy it. As a matter of fact, my staff now know that Miss Pantin, when her birthday comes, she's in love with soaps and creams. So that locally made. So I want to continue that part of supporting our local industries. Once you fall within agriculture or natural resources, we will provide that support through this initiative. And the focus is on women and girls, of course, for International Women's Day for the launch. But of course, we continue to work with all the stakeholders across the sector, as you have been seeing over the past 2 years.
And I also, I'm happy about you even mentioning just the technocrats from the ministry are going to be here. And tell me about that relationship. And is there some kind of intervention being made so that we can ensure that more Tobago people can access the grants?
Well, the division continues to work with our national partners. As a matter of fact, we have an amicable relationship where we partner on many things. For example, pests and diseases. Every single thing we partner with under the division, so that we build capacity of our stakeholders. Yeah, and of course we build the capacity of our technical team as well, so that we don't always have to rely on international help or national help. Yeah, and that's the idea. When they come here, we train persons so that they get the skills locally. Yeah. But what I want to also focus on, and this is something very dear to my heart. Now, what I find in this space, in growing up, we need more female mentors, not females who could tell you that you can't make it in life, or you can't, the kind of twang, you will make nothing of yourself. We need more mentors. Melissa spoke about looking at her mom in the kitchen preparing meals for her and her family. And, you would hear in this space that some women, they would have mentored the younger women into the field. So we are products of our environment. It's obvious. And if you don't have a good environment and nurturing environment, then obviously what you would get is a breakdown in society. And what is learned behavior, you will transfer that. So we want to empower women to show them that, and all of this is part of customer service as well, because customer service training would be part of the initiative. So that the first thing that you encounter is somebody pleasant and warming, and it translates into your craft. I don't know about anyone else. Right? But for me, whenever I'm in a good mood, everything is perfect. So I tend to do everything that I do when I'm in a good mood, craft-wise. And I would call out Councillor Sertica. Oh, she has a green thumb. And very often when she gives me some of her produce, I smile, because when I prepare, my husband and we prepare cauliflower and different things, and we say, she made this with love. She grew this with love. Everyone know that whatever you have inside you, it will be reflected in what you produce. Yes. So we need to start nurturing each other and mentoring each other, so that, the younger version of me, I was like, I'm giving up because I'm not seeing, I'm not feeling that type of encouragement. So I want to change the perception of the culture. We need to improve on the way we relate to each other, the customer service, and of course, we need to put more passion into our craft. And we are here to support you as the division.
And that's an interesting point, because when we talk about Women's Day, we always talk about women empowerment and so on, but we don't often deal with the fact that we as women also are our own undoing.
Yes, definitely. A lot of times we don't fix each other's crown, as we like to say it. Yeah, but we need to fix each other's crown. We have us in a society, I mean, politics is politics. I like to say it's a game of politics. Who could bring down the next person? And I don't like to do it. As a matter of fact, you wouldn't find me online doing it at all, right? But we have that type of mentality where we have to bring down each other in order for somebody else to achieve success. And that is the most ridiculous concept that I've ever witnessed. Because we're in this little Tobago, all of us connected in some way, right? I mean, my hair curly, you never know, Candice, me and you might be related somewhere along the line, because when they pull out, it's straight. But I just say it, we might be connected in some way.
Yes.
And if we continue along that line, we would not have a developed Tobago. We would have people suffering from depression continuously. So we have to start to mentor each other, right? It's not always about destroying each other and for political expediency or whatever. Sometimes you look at the value where it is and try to embrace it, try to improve people. And that is the focus of politics, improving people. It's a humanitarian thing.
And of course, and out of that, there are a lot of different sectors, and you're responsible for the agriculture. And by helping improve what we eat, can even help improve our health, can help improve our minds, and it spreads.
Yes, and Dr. Faith, Dr. Faith might be able to come and speak about, those non-communicable diseases that people often suffer from. And maybe we should start looking at the connection in terms of the foods that we eat.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of us, sometimes we have to look at, our pressure and our sugar. Some of us have to test every morning because of the type of foods we eat. And I'll tell you, I know relatives, after they changed their diet and they incorporated more, the home gardening unit, for example, why I applaud their efforts is because once you engage in home gardening, you know exactly what you're putting into your food. Yeah? And we have nearly 1,000 home gardeners signed on the program. And if you follow online, you see them every day, whether it's in a school, whether it's in a backyard of people in the community. They are teaching people how to garden scientifically. So it's not always about a business, but there's a difference. If you want to get into home gardening, the division will support you. The doctor might have told you have to ease up on salt and sugar and different things. So you may be able to have a hydroponic system set up in the back of your yard. So you wake up every morning and you pick your own produce. Yeah? But if you're into commercial farming, you need to have the assistance through grant funding. So we have separated what you want to do based on the service that we offer as a division. Yeah? So you could do your own thing for your own pleasure, but also we will provide that support should you want to go into commercial farming. And you have to be decisive in what you want to do. Because if you're going to rely forever on tractor pull, that is not a correct model for commercial farming, because you need to have your own tractor. And that is why we're saying you need to access the funding that is available.
Yes, certainly. And how would all of these things even resound to us being able to access, as a population, access food at lower prices? Because that continues to be a challenge. So even though we encourage more of the home gardening initiative, we also have a lifestyle that is not like before. Not everybody could dedicate the same level of time and effort to it, or even have the space to do it. And that continues to be a challenge. But then the prices of people being able to access food are sometimes out of budget for a lot of people.
Right. So let me speak to not having the space. And that is why the home gardening unit will show you that you have this space. And, we have to engage in modern agricultural farming, where you have the hydroponic system just set up. It could be right in your gallery. yeah, that you can grow all types of leafy vegetables, yeah. So we can do that. Even banana, you can have it potted, yeah. So we can, show you how to access fresh produce in your backyard. So I understand in terms of pricing. Now I'll tell you something. We have to look at, and it's economics, eh? Now we live in a free market society,
yes,
right? Where demand and supply determine price, right? So what the division has to do, or the ministry has to do, they have to look at ways to subsidize, right, the industry, right? I'm saying they, but I'm involved in it. Sorry, right? Sometimes I still feel like a technical officer, but so we look at ways how to subsidize farming and the other types of crafts, yeah? So that once you reduce the cost of your inputs, then the price could be reasonable. But of course, we have to train the farmers on how to price, yeah, based on that. So all of that would be part of the training, yeah, so that you don't have to now price things this way because you now have a reduction in costs as it relates to the inputs. But also you have to consider things like scarcity, for example, weather conditions, that could impact scarcity, of course. Demand, if the demand is high for a particular produce, the price goes up. So you have to look at the different factors and see if you could address that. But we operate in a free market economy. So it's not like if prices in the grocery go up, that the chief secretary could say, okay, let's carry down the price. It doesn't work like that, right? But from the division end, we could try to support the sector.
Certainly. All right, so we're unfortunately getting ready to wrap up this conversation this morning. But before you leave, I just want you to give the information as to how people, and especially women in particular, since this week we are focusing on women, but of course not just women, if they want to access some of these grants and these assistance, where can they go to find all this information? So
we will be launching on March 8th. But with that launch, you're going to see a lot of information on Facebook. We're going to use those mobile units that we have been using to sensitize people as to the different programs and the dates that you can attend. Of course, in the launch, you have key stakeholders. They're going to be present. And we're going to have that roundtable discussion on how we go forward together to improve the sector. And of course, when you walk away from this launch, you will have the information as to the different types of initiatives, training programs, all the opportunities for funding, both internationally, nationally, and locally. And of course, you will be networking with the best of the best, right? Both internationally and of course nationally. Yes, so you will be fully equipped with what you need to become a business person or to just develop the field for yourself, yeah? So I think it's a grand opportunity. It's the first of its kind, having women together in one space, sharing our experiences as women. Even, and women carry with them a lot of emotions as well in their stories. So we want to hear those stories. They're important to us, to show, how you would have transitioned from just being, a person doing your craft to an entrepreneur. Yeah, and with that, I would think that I would have contributed as a politician to the development of Tobago.
Certainly. And we're definitely looking forward for that. So viewers, there you have it. Just some information, especially for those of you in the farming community. There is actually quite a lot of assistance available, and we're going to see it announced in full on Friday.
Oh, and Candice, can I say that my technical officers, we as the division, we sent them to train on how to write for grant funding.
That's very important.
Yes, so we continue to improve our technical officers as well to provide good services.
All right, great. So I want to thank you so much, Mr. Tisha Charles Panton, and viewers, please don't go anywhere because we have a lot coming up for you after the break.
60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong.
Jimmy's Holiday Resorts has 1, 2, and 3 bedroom, fully self-contained apartments located at the heart of Crown Point. Minutes walk to the popular beaches, restaurants, bars, and the airport. Enjoy our amazing amenities such as fully equipped apartments, complete with Wi-Fi, AC, TV, and a pool, and a mini-mart on the compound. Call 639-8292 or 8929. Jimmy's Holiday Resorts is your family's home away from home. The best place to stay in Tobago is at Thorn's Place, with rates starting as low as 200 TT. Call or WhatsApp 745-7306 or 682-8676. We are located uptown Scarborough, 5 minutes away from the port. Remember, at Thorn's Place, our aim is to make your stay safe and affordable. Scrub Ties brings to you our organic fat dissolving shots. Yes, guys, our lemon butter shot breaks down stubborn fat, tightens any loose skin while increasing your metabolism. No side effects, no downtime. We also offer cavitation, cellulite treatment, butt, breast, hip dip fillers, weight loss, fertility IVs, and much more. Contact us on 495-6624 or follow us on Instagram at Scrub Ties Body Contouring.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry. If your nice car get damaged bad, I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry. If your house get flooded out real bad, I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil will always be here for you.
Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Yeah. Hey. Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago.
Tobago on Tobago updates and viewers. Just before we get into our next conversation, I just have a public announcement of the temporary closure of the sales at Study Park Enterprise Limited, and this is information coming from them. Please be advised that the operations at the Study Park Enterprise Limited spell will be closed on Wednesday, 6th March 2024. Therefore, there will be no sale of materials to the public. Normal operations will resume on Thursday, 7th March 2024. And of course, they apologize in advance for any inconvenience that this may cause, and they thank their customers for their cooperation. All right, viewers, so getting into our next conversation this morning, as we continue to celebrate women in light of International Women's Day, it is my pleasure to be joined by Miss Kenya Yaya Kodnak. And of course, I mean, she is our top footballer in Tobago right now. And I would say top footballer because I think you probably are, out of all the men and women. So, good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me here.
All right, great. So this morning we're going to be focusing a little bit on, women being involved in sport and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And you've had a very challenging journey when it comes to forging your way in football, especially. I mean, this is your passion, and you've continued to push ahead no matter what. What has that journey been like?
It had its good and it had its bad, but when you love something as much as I do, and I really love football, and it is my passion, from a young age, it has been a struggle for me growing up in the sport at the age of 6, because back in the days, like the kids have nowadays, back in the days, we didn't have all the necessities like the kids have now. So from a young age growing up playing the sports and having to struggle, Dwight York was one of my idols back in the days. Not now per se, but seeing how far he came from and how far he reached, I wanted to do the same thing and reach the same milestone as he did. And as you could see in my career, I struggled and struggled, and today the struggle has paid off.
How different is the journey for a woman in sport as opposed to a man?
It is a big difference because boys and men have a lot of opportunity, whereas girls don't have a lot of opportunity. But nowadays in the footballing world, you see that women are getting more and more opportunity because the gender equality in the football play is now coming into play. So females are getting more opportunity to go out there and show their talent.
And when it comes to even like the funding, payments for footballers and so on, how different is that for women, and is it changing?
Nowadays it is changing, but before, women had challenges with the pay compared to what men has been given. So women has always been the how to put it, the salary wasn't as much as the men, but we love the sport, so we still did it. But nowadays we've seen that the woman is much more competitive than the men. So now women are generating more funds into the footballing environment, whereas men doing the same thing, but women are generating more. Like, for instance, the last World Cup is 1.3 or 1.30 billion in Australia. And that's just from the women alone. So women are generating more funds into the women program nowadays.
So that's happening internationally?
Yes, internationally.
But what about back home in the Caribbean and in Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, we still have challenges in the Caribbean because, as you see, a lot of the national team players, they are pulling away from it because of funding and not the right... they're not putting enough emphasis in the women's program. So they're not giving the young women and the young ladies any encouragement to want to stand up and play for the country. And once you don't put anything into something that you want to see results of, you will not get a reaction out of the players that you want there.
And why do you think that is so, that prevails?
I mean, it comes from believing in the players that you have. And once you don't believe in them, you will not put anything into the sport, because a lot of talented young women and young girls in Trinidad and Tobago, and for far too long, we keep holding them back instead of pushing them to go forward. If I didn't take the initiative to go and do it on my own, I would have still been in Trinidad and Tobago.
And tell me about that, about you had to make for yourself that decision to go out there, because staying here will not get you as far as you've been wanting to go.
No, it was a decision that I needed to make for myself, because staying in Trinidad and Tobago is like having a bag of cement on your back. So, and when you go outside, they appreciate you for your talent. They make sure that what you give into them, they give back to you. And that's one of the things I try to inspire to the youth of Trinidad and Tobago, hence the reason why I come back and give back with my Monster Mentality Youth Tournament. Because I want these same kids to have the same opportunity that I have, because at the end of the day, they could be playing in the tournament and have eyes around seeing them, and they could get the same opportunities that I did.
Yes. And then let's talk a little bit more about that, just being able to share that knowledge here and inspire girls like yourself. What's that been like?
It's been really good, because a lot of the young boys and the young girls look up to me, and they always ask me for advice as to what does it take to be a professional footballer, an international footballer, even to go to college, because I've been down all these roads. And it's good for me to give them the knowledge as to the work that you need to put in, what you need to do, and it makes me feel good to always pass on my knowledge to them.
And when you're out there and you're competing and so on, what is those feelings that come up in you, and knowing that you're just a young girl from Tobago, and you're able to just be there on that world stage and prove that women from here, young women from Tobago, can, do big things too.
That's because that comes from me believing in God and believing in myself, because a lot of times we tend to forget that we are in a different country, and sometimes people want to give up because they are not home, and the challenges that you face in a different country is super hard. But I have to tell myself every time I'm out there and I'm playing, I am one of the best, and I will continue to be one of the best, because hence the reason why they offer me a contract to come and play here, because they know that I am one of the greatest and I'm out there doing what I love. So it's a great feeling to be out there and doing what I love, and I always score goal in every country that I go play football.
I know, and which is one reason why, out of all the footballers that we have in Tobago, you are the greatest right now. So, I mean, and then how about, what's, when you tell your stories or when you share your experiences with young women, especially here in Tobago, what is that like for them? What is the reactions and so on?
The reaction is always positive, because they are they are young women and young girls. They want to be like me or even better than me. So me giving them insight of what it takes, they really appreciate it, because say for instance, yesterday I was in a youth tournament in Lambo, and I had a couple of them come up to me and asking me what it takes, why it is I'm not going back to the national team, and I have to explain to them as to why and this type of stuff, and giving them insight that if you stay in this country, your footballing career as a young man and young woman will not go anywhere. You have to get out of this country, because we are too laid back and we don't do things in the way that a sportswoman or a sports girl need the knowledge of football to go forward.
And then how do you see yourself, even positioning, whether it's a little later down the road, to be able to make sure that we, at least in Tobago, can take football more seriously when it comes to our young girls?
And that's part of my plan when I put down the football. I will take up the coaching role, but more for the youths.
Yes.
Because you have to start them from young. And in this country, we start them from too old. And once you're too old, it is hard for you to start passing the ball at the age of 13 and 14. When teams are more advanced, you are now starting. So we have to start them young, get them from age 5 to 6 and start them coming up. So that is part of my plan when I finish with the football, to come and share my knowledge to the youths and to make sure that they understand the game, because they need to understand the game and not think that football is about dribbling and doing fancy stuff. That is not the game, because we have too many of them want to be like Ronaldo, Neymar and Messi, and they don't know what it takes to be those type of players.
That's a very interesting point. A lot of people don't understand what it takes to get there,
don't.
or even like what those footballers, what their journey has been like, and the discipline and everything that goes into it.
Yes, correct.
And then, what about when you look at the talent pool that we have in Tobago? What do you see?
I see a lot of talent in Tobago, to be honest. Compare from back in the days to now, it have a lot of young girls that is very talented, but it's just for them to get the proper opportunity to showcase their talent.
And then, is there a lot of opportunities outside of Trinidad and Tobago for young girls?
Yes, there is a lot of opportunities. So, and that's where the discipline comes in, because sometimes we as young females and young women, we think that no one is looking at us. We can be how good, how talented, but once you are in discipline, no one will want you in their club. Or say, for instance, if you have an opportunity to go to college or high school, no one will want you there, because discipline is a big factor in the footballing world.
And how was that even shaped? That having that discipline in sport, how has that shaped your life and your goals and how you approach things?
Having discipline is one of the biggest things, because for me, when I was young growing up, to be honest, I was very indisciplined. And when I left Trinidad and Tobago and I see how things is being done compared to back home, it changed your whole perspective of your way of life and how you do things. So now you have to have discipline in order to do anything or to be good at anything that you do in life, because being indisciplined will get you nowhere. And I had us to take that initiative just by being outside in the outside world and seeing how things is done differently to be more disciplined in football and in life in general.
That's great to hear. And then what's next for Yaya?
What next for me? As of now, waiting. I have some offers, but I'm just still waiting to see which one is the best one and which one comes first. So as of now, I'm home and I'm relaxing, but the monster's still keeping in shape and doing her work and all of that.
Oh yeah, we're not done with you yet. we know we got a whole lot more, and we're just. I would say everybody really is excited to see your journey and every achievement that you're able to have. It's something that we all celebrate here in Tobago. And, you know, as we're getting ready to wrap this interview, what are some of the words that you would like to leave with young women, especially here in Tobago?
I would say that sky is the limit, and if you have a dream, you go after it, because a lot of people will tell you that you're not good enough. You have to decide if those people's word is more effective or your words. So you have to continue to believe in yourself. If you have a dream to go out and play cricket, basketball, football, whatever sporting discipline, you go after it with no hesitation. Sky has no limit. Keep reaching and keep doing what you love.
Great. Thank you so much, Yaya, and best of luck. And we're waiting to see you back out there on the world stage.
Thank you for having me.
All right, viewers. Well, that's how we're going to have to wrap the show this morning. I want to thank you so much for joining us. And yes, all through this week, we will be focusing on women because it's International Women's Day on March 8th. So hope you have a safe and wonderful day, and we will see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.
I say, thanks a favor to wake up and hear my neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power. We are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers. We are melanated ones. We special and there is no denying. Tobago is number one. I am you and you are me. Together we're stronger.
No place like home, home, home.
Oh, I love Tobago, baby.
When we outside, it's an ocean of love. All that we align to the stars up above. Let we dance now, take a chance now with me. And we go jump till morning. Look, the moon don't sleeping. Tell them we not leaving. Till the last drop of bacchanal is madness in the capital. So I feel like I'm running tongue again. Jump and shake the ground again. Wave with all my friends and them. No place like home, home, home. We go jump till the moon come down. It's we who the stars shine on. Play a mass and break away. Freedom in with DNA.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.